As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows across the room, I found myself alone in the dimly lit gallery. My footsteps echoed against the cold marble floors, a haunting rhythm that seemed to amplify the silence around me. I had always been drawn to art, especially the mysterious and enigmatic pieces that held stories beyond the canvas. Tonight, however, my fascination was about to take a sinister turn. My eyes were immediately drawn to a painting hanging on the far wall. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before, a masterpiece of darkness and dread. The colors seemed to swirl and dance in an otherworldly pattern, as if the canvas itself held a life of its own. The painting depicted a desolate landscape, a gnarled tree standing alone in the field of withered flowers, their petals as black as the void. As I approached the painting, a chill crept down my spine, and I could feel my heart racing in my chest. It was as if the very essence of the scene had seeped into the air around me, enveloping me in its macabre embrace. The tree's twisted branches seemed to reach out towards me, as if begging for release from the darkness that held it captive. And then I saw them, the eyes. Two piercing, blood-red eyes stared out of the depths of the painting, their gaze unrelenting and malevolent. It was as if the figure within the painting was aware of my presence, as if it could see through the barriers of reality and into my soul. I tried to tear my gaze away, to break free from the unnerving connection, but it was as though an invisible force held me in place. A voice echoed in my mind, a whisper that seemed to come from both within the painting and from the depths of my own consciousness. "Embrace the darkness," it hissed, its voice dripping with malice. "Join us in eternal torment." I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my chest. The air around me grew colder, the gallery seeming to warp and twist as if reality itself was being distorted. Panic surged through me, and I turned to flee, but as I did, a searing pain shot through my head, causing me to collapse to the floor. Images flashed before my eyes, scenes of agony, suffering, and despair. It was as if I was being shown the tortured history of the painting itself. With a gasp, I jolted awake, my body covered in a cold sweat. I was back in my own room, the sun casting a warm glow through the curtains. It had all been a dream, a nightmare born from the depths of my imagination. I laughed nervously, trying to shake off the residual fear that clung to me. After all, it was just a painting, a work of art designed to evoke emotion. Determined to prove to myself that I had nothing to fear, I decided to return to the gallery later that day. The painting was still there, its colors just as captivating and its atmosphere just as haunting. But as I stood before it, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was different. The eyes seemed to burn with an intensity that I hadn't noticed before, and the air around me felt charged with an unnatural energy. As I continued to stare, a voice, the same voice from my dream, whispered in my ear. "You cannot escape," it hissed, the words sending shivers down my spine. I stumbled back, my heart racing, as the world around me began to warp and twist once again. I watched in horror as the painting's landscape bled into reality, the twisted tree emerging from the canvas and stretching its gnarled branches towards me. I turned to flee, but the room seemed to stretch infinitely, the walls closing in around me. I was trapped, caught between the world of the painting and my own reality. And then I saw them, the blood-red eyes, emerging from the canvas, their gaze fixated on me. The figures within the painting began to claw its way out, its form shifting and contorting as it crossed the threshold into my world. Paralyzed with fear, I watched as the figure drew closer, its footsteps echoing against the marble floors. Its eyes bore into mine, a maddening intensity that threatened to consume me whole. "Welcome to our world," it whispered, its voice a chilling symphony of darkness. And then, with the final surge of terror, I woke up once again in my own room, drenched in sweat and gasping for air. I stared at the ceiling, my heart pounding in my chest. Had it all been a dream within a dream? Or had I truly encountered the malevolent force within the painting? To this day, I cannot be certain, but I do know one thing: that cursed painting had left an indelible mark on my soul. Its darkness still lingers within me, a constant reminder that some mysteries are best left unexplored. And as I lay in bed at night, I can't help but wonder if the painting's malevolent presence is still out there, waiting for its next victim to stumble into its twisted embrace.